Hi, my name is Scott Anderson. You've reached my extended video review. No, I am not reviewing a laminate floor. Could review the laminate floor, very interesting thing, but nope. Actually, today, and I'm going to pull the phone in so you can see what it is that I'm reviewing today. So I'm reviewing that little globe right there. So we're talking about that little globe. First of all, what is that little globe? Well, that little globe is my laptop connecting to the internet. As you can see, if we go back in a little bit, you can see it says no internet. All right, first of all, let's talk about the reality of advertising. The concept of advertising is that you try to get people to buy what you're selling. Okay, that's fair. That's what you're doing. That is the reality of it. But here's the impact of you not telling the truth. So Xfinity, and they are my internet provider, until recently they had a monopoly in my area, in the sense that they were the only provider you could get. I regret every day now, and particularly in the last 4 when I have been down every single day, I regret switching from where I was to Xfinity. I didn't have a choice, but I did. And that is depressing for me right now. The reality of the situation I am in is that I don't have a choice. Well, I didn't. I do now, and it's making this process very difficult. I really enjoy Xfinity's entertainment service, not their internet, their entertainment service. That is the TV, streaming, and other services that they provide at an incredibly high level. They do a great job. And I'm very impressed with that. That actually is really good. And that is the only reason I'm still on Xfinity 2 months into this painful process. A month into them saying, oh, well, we're going to come out and fix it permanently here shortly. Shortly is more than 10 days and less than 100. Well, yeah, that means I'm somewhere around 75 to 80 days yet to wait. You can tell that I'm frustrated and annoyed, and I try to avoid that in my reviews. I try to avoid that in my life. But the reality is, I'm sitting with a whole home Wi-Fi that doesn't have internet. And what is the value proposition of a whole home Wi-Fi that doesn't have internet? Well, it's not much. So I'm going to scroll over here. There is my Labrador support animal. There are my banners. So I'm going to face the banners and do the rest of this review talking, right? So, 1, I have an Xfinity router. It is connected to my cables. The cables run from the upstairs area where they are to the basement where the junction box is. And basically at that point, I connect to the internet. About 5 years ago, every house in this neighborhood, except for mine and a couple of others, had all their Xfinity cabling replaced. But okay, whatever, right? I mean, that's the reality. A person came out, a tech came out, looked at the situation, realized that in fact part of the problem was the reality of what was going on, right? That's the reality of where we are, right? And so based on that, he said, well, we're gonna dig up your front yard and replace your cable. Fair enough, right? That's perfectly acceptable. I understand the reality, right? I'm not shocked by that, right? The first thing they did is they replaced the router. So I had a router for about 18 months. They replaced the router. That worked for a little while. Then it stopped working. They had a person come out and just change a couple of the settings on the router. I had apparently set something that I shouldn't have in terms of devices being able to easily connect. Fair enough. My bad. I accept that one was my mistake. But the reality is I've been waiting now for 14 days to get them to come out and actually replace my cable. Now, there's 3 things to consider here. The first is about 9 days ago, someone came out and marked our yard with paint, as Comcast or Xfinity said they would, right? Okay, great. They came out and did that. So be it. They only marked it in one place, which I thought was odd at the time. The crew came out to dig the cable, and he called me and he said, I can't do the cable. I don't know where everything is. I only see one mark. So, right, I knew something was wrong. So be it. They sent someone else out to mark where all the cables were, and that person marked all the way down to the corner of our street, middle of the street, everywhere that there were cables in our yard and the road. Awesome. But apparently when they did that, they didn't notify Xfinity that they were done. So now I'm waiting for the cabling company to come. 2 different companies, 2 different groups, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the extended, painful reality of where I am is that I have no access to the internet. I have no solution right now that lets me connect to what I need to connect to. It is very frustrating. It is very annoying. And I have just about reached my full tolerance of Xfinity crap.